This week we begin with one of my favorites of the minor prophets, and that's the prophet Haggai. Part of why I like him so much is because in so many of the minor prophets there's a lot of doom and gloom and judgment and wrath and day of the Lord, and you better get your act together, and that's just their job and that's what they do. But in Haggai it's actually a little more positive, and it's because he comes into a situation, the need to rebuild a temple, and with his wonderful spirit and God's spirit with him, he gets it done. And amazing thing is we can date the writing of the book very specifically because we know it was written between August 29th and December 18th of 520 BC. That's when these things were happening and taking place. And Haggai, you see how the work of God's people always points beyond the present moment to the continuation of God's work and the fulfillment of God's purpose. And so that starts in chapter 1 when we're introduced to Haggai, and we're going to see very clearly and quickly that he is a prophet with authority. Our verse of the day is chapter 1, verse 1. In the second year of King Darius, in the 6th month, and on the first day of the month, the word of the Lord came by the prophet Haggai to Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, son of Jehozadak, the high priest. Now I'm just stopping there for it's a brief book, so verses 1 through 6 are the passage I want you to read today. But I want to start by saying, here we see that Haggai is a prophet with authority. Who does he speak to right off the bat? Well, he speaks to the governor and he speaks to the high priest. These are the two head honchos, the big cheeses, the big kahunas there in Jerusalem. These are the guys. And he goes right to them and he's going to say to them, look, it's time to get to work. It's time to start rebuilding a temple for the Lord. And I'll tell more about that tomorrow. But I want to focus on this word of authority, because one of the things we see with prophets is that they speak with authority. And that means both they speak with conviction, with strength, with clarity, but it also means they speak with an authority that is beyond themselves, an authority that comes from God. And if you were to turn in your Bible to Mark chapter 1, you would see one of the things that distinguishes Jesus' early ministry and shocks people is that he teaches as one with authority and not as one of the scribes. Because the scribes would just say, well, this is what happened. Whereas Jesus, we see him casting out demons and healing people and teaching with authority. That authority, when combined with God's work, is a sign that someone truly is a man or a woman of God, like Haggai.